Hey guys, it's AndrewJohn100 here, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do a continuation of my FNaF skin tier list with the skins that debuted after Clown Springtrap. Now the reason I'm doing this in the video is because I was originally going to state my opinion on every skin after Clown Springtrap in the form of a pinned comment, but once the Ancient Equinox event started, I just thought, you know what, this is getting too hard, and I'm just going to do it in the style of the video. And so, here we are. Now, keep in mind that if skins after Piranha Plush Trap aren't in this video, that's because this video was recorded before those skins were released. We're gonna start from Katrina Toy Chica to the Dark Water Tides. And keep in mind that this is all my opinion. If you like a skin that I don't like, then that's okay. But without further ado, let's start the countdown with Katrina Toy Chica, released in the Halloween event. And yes, this was actually released in that event. Why Illumix decided to release a skin based on Day of the Dead during Halloween, I have no idea. Yes, I know skulls are present in both holidays, but aside from that, these are completely different celebrations and don't have anything in common. Does that mean the skin is bad? Actually, no. Despite the bad timing of the skin's release, it admittedly does look really good. The costume and makeup do a good job on capturing the Day of the Dead culture, the withering is phenomenal, and the color palette is dark but well chosen, all making for a pretty colorful and appealing skin. Now, while this skin is good, it isn't the best of the bunch, and yes, it could have been released at a better time, but it certainly is better than the last skin. Katrina Toy Chica gets placed at B. And with that skin out of the way, we move on to the Woodland event, featuring Woodland Toy Freddy, the skin that kicked off probably the strangest event of 2020. You think that Illumix would do some kind of Thanksgiving event, but instead we got an event basically revolving around nature. It was still a good event though, and Woodland Toy Freddy is too. This skin is pretty much the equivalent of matching Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy and Toy Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a really neat looking skin, from the textures resembling bark, the moss and mushrooms growing on him, and his giant stick replacing his microphone definitely shows he means dominance. This skin is just good, which is why he gets ranked at A. Now what about Boulder Toy Bonnie? I sort of have the same opinion on him as Woodland Toy Freddy, just not as much. I mean, the modeling on his body is excellent, and the textures are well done too. I just don't really have much to say about him, other than he gets placed at B. Now on to the last skin of the event, Swamp BB, Balloon Boy's first skin. Now, I will say that like the previous skins, the texture and modeling is excellent, and it does look creepy, but the problem is that he's one of the more forgettable skins out there, and my opinions on him aren't very strong. Things like his empty sockets, somewhat permanent smile, and signs saying rot are the only things that stand out about him. Overall, a decent skin, just not very memorable. I would place him at B too. Now it's time to move on to the Winter Wonderland event, starting with Black Eyes Frostbear. First of all, goodness Frostbear, have a Snickers bar. You're not you when you're hungry. Second of all, what a way to kick off an event. Black Eyes Frostbear is easily one of the best skins next to VR Toy Freddy and Toxic Springtrap. The design is hecka cool, no pun intended. Making a mutated ice version skin for Frostbear just works. He genuinely looks like somebody you do not want to get into a match with, and his staff and jagged edges don't help matters either. There's not much to say that I haven't already, other than Black Eyes Frostbear is one of those really special skins that really top the others, and that's why I place him at S. Now let's save a dance and choose a spot for Arctic Ballora. I think we all expected a winter-themed skin for Ballora, and it did happen, but what can I say for Arctic Ballora? I really like it. It looks visually stunning with the snowflake effects, and the color palette for her is well picked. But one thing I do like about her is that when encountering her, instead of playing her usual music box, she plays a slight remix of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy. Yes, it's a small detail, but it does make her stand out from normal Ballora. My only issue with Arctic Ballora though is that I feel like the icicles in some areas feel a bit excessive and make it look a bit silly. Mostly on her skirt. The icicles forming it don't really work for me, and I think they should have just stuck with a gown made from ice. The shoulders feel a bit much too, but it's not too distracting, and even then, these are very minor issues, and Arctic Ballora is still a great skin. I would place her at A. Now on to Frostbite BB. Now, this skin isn't bad looking. I mean, it does look creepy and unique, but maybe too unique. My biggest problem with Frostbite BB is that the design barely resembles Balloon Boy. While Swamp BB was an average skin, at least he stayed true to BB's overall aesthetics. This one tries so hard to be on its own that it doesn't feel like something you would see from FNaF. Now that's not to say the overall model is bad. I mean, it definitely looks like it had some effort put into it. I just think Illumix tried a bit too hard, and that's why I place him at C. Now on to the last skin of the event, Frost Plush Trap. This is honestly my least favorite skin of the event. While Frostbite BB wasn't great, at least he was unique and had something going for him. This skin, on the other hand, brings nothing new to the table, as it's just Plush Trap Blue with icicles coming out of his back. I also think it's not a very memorable skin because of this. It honestly feels like Illumix ran out of ideas and had to think of a new skin quickly, with as little creative effort as possible. However, the environment in which you fight him is actually kind of cool looking, and it even plays some Christmas cues in the background, so I'll give credit for that. It's just a shame that the skin itself isn't anything special, and definitely was a bland conclusion to an otherwise great event with amazing skins. Because of that, I'm gonna have to place him at C. If his environment was the exact same, then he would have been placed at D. He's not a terrible skin, I just think he's generic. And with that, we're done with the 2020 skins, and we move on to the 2021 skins and events, starting with Heartsick Baby and Blackheart Bonnie from the Heartstoppers event. I put these two together as they were released on the same day. I think so far, these are my favorite skins of 2021, because their origins don't feel too out of place, and they both look really good. I'll go through them briefly though. Blackheart Bonnie looks really good, and I like his transparent design, the 8-bit heart is a nice touch, and the withering is amazing. I know he doesn't look as good in this SFM session that he's turning on, so I'll pull up his gameplay to see how he really looks. As a bonus, his side effects are also great. I like that some skins try to give more unique sound effects to reflect their appearance. I would place Blackheart Bonnie at A. As for Heartsick Baby, when I first saw her design, the first thing that came into mind was Spinel from Steven Universe when her gem is upside down and she's basically in attack mode. It was probably the color palette and the black marks on her side plates, which are actually withering. Anyways, this skin also looks pretty good. From the design, the colors, the details, I like this skin pretty much the same as Blackheart Bonnie. So it also gets placed at A. And with that, we're already done with this event and moving on to the next one, with the Ancient Equinox event. This is where the events start to get a little bit weird, and the skins hosted in this event are Curse and Serpent Mangle, both of which were also released in the same event. I'll start with Curse, and first of all, that is the laziest name given to a skin. Even the younger FNaF fans can come up with better names than that. Why not call it Warrior Trap or something? Oh well, despite the lazy name, this skin is certainly an improvement over Clown Springtrap. It actually looks really cool with the armor, the jaguar-like pattern on his hands and feet, and its design does a good job on capturing the Ancient Equinox culture. With all that said though, my feelings toward him aren't very strong, and I would place him at B. As for Serpent Mangle, it definitely is a load of eye candy with the flower necklace, her color pattern, the armor, and I do think her levitating the sun and moon is a neat gimmick too. But like with Curse, my feelings toward her aren't very strong either, and she too gets placed at B. I like these skins, just not as much as the previous duo. And with that, we're done with the Ancient event and on to the Hot Chocolate event. Starting with Melted Chocolate Bonnie, aka the perfect example of how to massacre a good skin. Actually, Illumix did more than just massacre him. They trapped him in a microwave, cooked him for more than 2 minutes, dumped sprinkles on him, and finally topped it off by having one of their employees' dog take a poop on his head. This skin is just a mess. It is such a lazy and half-baked effort, released in an event for a perfect opportunity to give Chocolate Freddy and Chocolate Chica a role in the game. Instead, we got this lazy reskin of a reskin. Now I know people are gonna say, but Black Eyes Freddy wasn't reskin of a reskin. First of all, Frostbear was never a skin to begin with. Yes, he's a remodel of Freddy like all other skins, but he also has his own character slot and CPU. Therefore, he is a character, not a skin. Second of all, Black Eyes Frostbear was at least awesome to look at and clearly had some effort put into it. This is just lazy and uninspired, and while the texturing and model looks decent, everything else about it is just blech. Oh, and if anyone is wondering about my thoughts on his recycled animation, I would bash on it, but since their animator left at this time, I'll give them some slack. Could they have chosen a better animation to recycle? Absolutely. Is this skin good? No. This skin is ugly, uninspired, and it just overall sucks to me. While Clown Springtrap was a bad skin, at least it had some form of creativity behind it. This does not and gets ranked at E. This might not be the worst skin released so far, but this is certainly one I wouldn't mind drenching in deep, hot milk. And after that skin, we are immediately put on to the next event, with the Scary Tales event. A very strange event indeed. Anyways, how would I rank this skin? If I'm gonna be honest, the Scary Tales skins are the skins I feel the most neutral towards. Little Red Chica isn't bad, and like with most skins, it is well modeled and detailed. It's just not that memorable to me, and more on the average side of things. I mean, Liberty Chica was more memorable, but that was because of how dumb she was. Little Red Chica is an improvement over that skin, but that's far from a compliment. And I just think this skin is okay, and I would place her at B. I know I didn't say much on this skin, but the thing is, the less I feel for a skin, the less I have to say for it. Anyway, on to Big Bad Foxy. This skin is in the same gray area as Little Red Chica, but in some ways a bit worse. While the fur texture is very realistic, the dark red body and gray fur don't blend nicely with each other, and the overall model just looks rushed, and it looked like it didn't have that much effort put into it. The claws on his hand and feet are a nice touch, and it is kind of funny seeing Foxy dressed as a grandma, but other than that, this skin is pretty forgettable to me, and I would place him at C. And with that, we move on to the latest event of AR, the Wicked Tides event, starting with Darkwater Endo. When this skin was first released, I wasn't too fond of it, but over time, I started to slightly like it more, and now I think this is probably the best skin to come out of this event. It's nowhere near Black Guys or Shamrock Freddy standards, but I still like it. While the skin doesn't really resemble Endo 01 by a lot, it still retains the same type of body, so it's nowhere near as off as Frostbite BB. Being based on an angular fish, they did a good job resembling it. The strange organs housed inside the torso, the twisted angles, and the face. It's all well executed, and I do like the blue color used for him. My only issue is that his name could have been chosen better. I would have called this skin Angular Endo, as that is the face it is based on after all, but it's not too lazy. Overall, while I don't love this skin, I still like it enough to rank it at B. Now let's dive in deep and choose a spot for Sunken Toy Bonnie. When I first saw this skin, I was pretty unimpressed with it, and my opinion really hasn't changed. This is so far the weakest skin of the event. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about this skin that feels rushed and uninspired. While the texturing all over his body is nice, there's really nothing that stands out about this one. And like with Curse, we also have another name that feels very lazy. This could have easily been called Barnacle Toy Bonnie. And we also have another skin with recycled animation. Boring. Overall, this skin isn't bad, it's just not memorable at all to me and will likely fade from my memory very quickly. I would place him at C. Okay, now we're on to the latest skin, Piranha Plush Trap. Where does he lie? In my opinion, this is a big improvement over Frost Plush Trap, because it really looks like it had some effort put into it. I think crossing Plush Trap with a piranha is a cool idea to me, and this skin definitely looks creepy from its jagged sharp teeth, its gaping mouth, and its blue irises piercing into your soul. The model also has some good amount of detail to it. As for his environment, easily the best part of his release. They completely remodeled it to look like the interior of a sunken ship, and it looks really nice, especially with all the water effects. Overall, I can say that Piranha Plush Trap melts Frost Plush Trap by a long shot, and I would place him at A. And with that, that brings us to the end of this video. What do I think of current skins now? I like most of them, but I really think Illumix should take a break from them and start focusing more on releasing characters. Okay, bear in mind, Golden Freddy was released in December, and we haven't gotten a new character since his release. We did get that major gameplay update, but it kind of ruins FNaF AR for me. The only good thing it did was fix the crashing glitch. So, I just hope that this game's current state can get better. I doubt that it will, but all we can do is hope.